lecture delivered by Professor Fazlur Rahman Ansari in the Habibia Masjid, Athlone, Sunday morning, 27th September 1970, sponsored by the Habibia Masjid Committee.
Alhamdulillah. 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 Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا وطبيب قلوبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله الذي أرسل إلى الناس كافة وإلى الخلق عامة بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في شأن حبيبه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وأنعم وزد وتفضل وبارك على سيد السادات وأفضل الموجودات وأشرف الموجودات وأحسن الموجودات وأكرم الموجودات وأجمل الموجودات وأكمل الموجودات سيدنا ومولانا محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى جميع ملائكة المعصومين وعلى جميع عباد الصالحين. أما بعد، لقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كلامه القديم العظيم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون لهم البشرى في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغ رسوله النبي الحبيب الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين. Dear Muslims, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are assembled here to celebrate the death anniversary of one of the greatest spiritual luminaries of Islamic history, namely of Sayyid Khwaja Mu'inuddin al-Chishti al-Ajmiri al-Sanjari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. As the speaker before me observed, this great man lived many centuries ago, but he lived a life for the sake of God. He lived a life, as we term in our spiritual terminology, he led a life in God and with God. And consequently, he lives in our hearts up to this day. There were numerous eminent human beings who lived in the age in which he lived, who came to this world even after he had passed away, who lived in this world in the last century or even in this century, but their names have been forgotten. While although he lived more than 1,000 years ago, his name has been commemorated day after day and night after night and month after month and year after year. Not only at the place where he lived, but in the country where he lived, and even in those countries which are far away from that country where he lived. This is the proof of what a great Sufi has said in Persian, Hargiz Namir Adaan ke dilash zinda shud baish. He whose heart has been endowed with the life of love for God, he never dies. Sab tast bar jarida-e alam dawa mein ma. All those who lived and died for the sake of God, their footprints are indelibly imprinted on the face of history. This remembrance, this annual function which has been held in connection with all such personalities, its nature actually has not been understood properly. It is called Urs, implying that it is an occasion for rejoicing. It is an occasion for being happy. It is an occasion for expressing our happiness at the great blessing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon us in the form of that great godly person. It is actually an annual conference, and the annual conference is the conference of those who believe in the mission and the work of that great man who worked all his life to make the mission of the Holy Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam successful. He dedicated his entire life for the fulfillment of that great mission, and therein lies his greatness. Remember this point. This is a very important point. Everyone among the awliya Allah, the function of every such person was nothing else than the fulfillment of the mission which the Holy Prophet ﷺ had brought, the mission of bringing life and light and virtue and piety and goodness and beauty in this world. Consequently, it has been a custom from olden days that those who take their teaching from a certain murshid, they assemble annually at a central place, especially at that place where his last remains have been buried, and they exchange notes, they submit reports of how they have been carrying on that mission. So this ceremony actually started in this fashion. But as all ceremonies become rituals in the end, when people forget the real mission and they remember only the outer form, in the same manner we have forgotten whether we live in India or in Pakistan or in South Africa. Of course, this demonstration of love on our behalf for him who loved God and his beloved Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and who loved the mission which was brought by the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, even this demonstration of love is an act of piety, because those who cannot love a person who has loved God cannot love God himself. It will be a hollow claim on their part that they love God, but they don't love those who love God and who showed the way how to love God, who were the very personifications of love for God. Consequently, it is a duty of everyone who believes in Islam and everyone who loves God and his beloved Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and the deen of Islam, that he should not only entertain in his heart the love for all those who personified that love in a high degree, but to demonstrate it actively. And this demonstration is the stepping stone to the path which leads to the acquisition of love for God in the proper manner and proper measure. And even from this point of view, I congratulate all of you that you are on the right path. When you celebrate this Urs, whether the Urs is for this great man, Sayyidina Khwaja Muinuddin al-Chishti al-Ajmeri, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, or for Sayyidina Ghawthul Azam Muhyiddin Sayyid Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, or any other person who rose to the status of being Waliullah or the friend of God. But, my dear friends, on this occasion, where the previous speaker mentioned about the Khanqah Habibia, he mentioned another personality who walked on this path and attained a stature and a measure of success, and consequently his name has been commemorated in connection with the Khanqah and in connection with a school which I had the opportunity of visiting a few days before, the Habibia school. The question that emerges when all these names come before us is, what is our duty? Does our duty consist merely in loving these people, which is of course an act of piety and goodness, but do we have to go beyond that? Is it our duty to emulate them, to imitate them, to follow their footsteps? Or just to stay in a verbal or even in a public demonstrative appreciation of their merits and their goodness? I believe that Islam is not the religion of mere dogmatic belief or ritualistic demonstration of piety. It is the religion which is most comprehensive as guidance for human beings in every walk of their life. And consequently, it is something which has got to be practiced. Of course, the belief must be there, because without belief, you cannot practice anything. The belief is the cornerstone and the foundation. The belief must be correct. The belief must be authentic. The belief must be that which was given by the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and which was projected and communicated and propagated by all his true followers, among whom the greatest were those who combined the knowledge of Islam with the experience of Islam, for whom the knowledge of Islam was not merely something which was bookish or scholastic, but it was something which could be experienced and which could be internalized, which could be made a part and parcel of one's personality. In this connection, I would like to emphasize a very important point. Of course, the time is very short and the problems are too many. But we should always, we have been commanded in the Holy Quran to speak to the people on those problems which are of immediate importance, in order that they may benefit for practical, from the point of view of practical guidance. When I went to visit the Habibia school, I had promised to the principal, probably he is here somewhere, that I will deliver a lecture on education and the pursuit of knowledge in Islam. I have not yet been able to fulfill that promise, and even my effort to do so this morning would fall very short of what I should do, because of the shortage of time. But I would like to point out certain things which will enable you to understand the status of this great man whose oath we are celebrating this morning. Islam has conceived knowledge at three levels. Knowledge of one's own self, knowledge of the environment, and knowledge of the entire cosmos, leading to the experience of God. In the Holy Quran we are told, وَفِي الْأَرْضِ آيَاتٌ لِلْمُوقِنِينَ وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. In your earthly environment, there are signs or pointers to the different domains of knowledge, and within your own persons there are signs and pointers and guidelines and guideposts to the different facets and dimensions of knowledge. أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. Would you not then engage yourselves in observing these signs of God and cultivating the knowledge that is connected therewith? In this verse we have been told about these two levels of knowledge. The knowledge about oneself and the knowledge about the environment which is there around us, this earthly environment. Then we have been told in the Holy Quran at numerous places about the cosmic phenomena. They have been enumerated, and then we have been asked to employ our reason to employ our powers of observation to probe deeper and deeper into the mysteries that lie in the entire cosmos and the entire universe, as we call it. Then this thing leads finally to the experience of God and a living conviction in the personality and His existence of God and in the relationship that exists between us and God. I'll read only one verse from the Holy Quran here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Most surely, in the constitution of the heavenly bodies and the earth, and in the alternation of night and day, are guidelines in the realm of knowledge for those who use their wisdom, those who are wise, those who cultivate their reason or their intellect, ulil albab. And what is the method of doing it? We have been told in the same verse, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ. Those who remember Allah standing and sitting and lying on their sides, that is in every posture and at every moment of their life. وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And they probe into the secrets, into those laws which govern the constitutions of the heavenly bodies or the entire cosmos, and especially of this earth where they live. When they do so, then they arrive at a stage which is the stage of the realization of God, and they proclaim, as it has been said in this verse, Subhanak. وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. Their first realization is that this world and everything in this world is meaningful and purposeful. It is not meaningless. They realize the value and worth of whatever is there in their environment right up to the final boundaries of the cosmos. Then they realize God, Subhanak, glory be to Thee, glorious art Thou, Thou art above every shortcoming and every defect, Thou art the most perfect being, Thou possessest perfection in every dimension of human conception and beyond that, Subhanak. And then the prayer, فَقِنَا رَبَّنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. O Lord, save us from the doom of fire, of the fire. This fire is again a comprehensive fire. This fire is the fire of ignorance, of not knowing what we are, of not knowing what this world is, of not knowing what God is. This fire is the fire of deprivation of experience of God, which is the highest bliss for a human being. This fire, of course, in common parlance, is the fire of hell, which is just a statement because nobody knows what hell is. As the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said about Jannah, مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. That Al-Jannah has been described in the Quran, but that is only a simile in terms of metaphor. But what it really is, no mind can conceive what it is. because it is not something of this world. A human mind can conceive only things of this world. Similarly, al-Jahannam, no mind can conceive as to what actually it is. We have been informed about it in terms of what we know, but that is metaphorical and allegorical. Now, in this connection, these three levels of knowledge, all these three levels of knowledge have got to be pursued by a moment. That is the function of a moment. And here there are certain guidelines which I may place before you. Have you ever thought about this thing? That your hands have 5 fingers. Your feet have 5 fingers. You have 5 primary physical senses of seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touch. You have 5 foundations of Islam. Bunya al-Islamu ala khamsin. You have 5 foundations of Islam. These 5 fingers of your hand and these 5 primary senses, they are the pointers that just as there are 5 primary senses for observation of physical things, there are 5 levels of human reason for the coordination of the knowledge that you might get about this physical world, for the coordination of the experiences that you might get. You will have to distinguish between knowledge and experience, mind you. When you hear music, you get a sort of experience. That is not knowledge. That is experience. You see? So there is a level in reason or intellect itself which coordinates the experiences of this material world. Then there is a level in reason which coordinates the experiences of the transcendental world. And when this reason, this human reason, may be basically divided into 2, the lower reason and the higher reason. Coming to the higher reason, that higher reason is assisted by 5 senses which are the inner senses. And this is the teaching of all the Sufis. Al-Hawasul Batiniyah, the inner senses, and they are 5, just as these senses are 5, and their stations are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 inner senses, and these inner senses function in cooperation with the higher reason, which some people call as intuition. These primary senses, they actually work in the field of knowledge in connection with this material world. Because whether we pursue physical sciences, the knowledge in the field of physical sciences or the knowledge in the field of social sciences, it is all on the basis of these 5 primary senses that we have. The function of these senses is to send reports to the discursive reason which is there inside your brain, if you might think it like that. And there these percepts are converted into concepts. And the concepts are converted into principles. And the principles are converted into values. And there you get a value system. This is the way. This is the way from these outer senses. But there is a way through the inner senses the way which works through the inner senses, it functions on what may be called the transcendental beam of the human personality. The human personality has a mundane beam which is five-dimensional, which works on these five primary physical senses. The human personality has a transcendental beam which works on the basis of those five inner senses. Then every one of these five inner senses has five dimensions. It will take a very long time if I speak on that. But a very important point which I wish to bring out is that these great spiritual luminaries of Islam, whether they came in the person of Khaja Muinuddin al-Chishti, or in the person of Ghaus al-Azam Muhyiddin Sayyid Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, or in the person of Shaykh al-Akbar Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi, or any other great among the awliya Allah, they were men of knowledge. They were men of higher knowledge. And Islam has demanded, this point I would like to make very clear here. Islam has demanded from the Muslims that every Muslim should be possessor of knowledge. As the Holy Prophet ﷺ has laid down the command, طَلَبُ الْعِلْمِ فَرِيضَةٌ عَلَى كُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ وَمُسْلِمَةٍ. Cultivation of knowledge is an obligation on every Muslim man and woman. An illiterate Muslim is a contradiction in terms. An illiterate Muslim is a contradiction in terms, although this contradiction is found galore, profoundly and abundantly in the Muslim world of today. But it is because of this contradiction that has taken place that we have gone down so much in the comity of nations. Islam is the religion of knowledge. It is that religion which combines faith with knowledge, as I was speaking last night at the university. In Islam, the entire struggle of a Muslim is in the domain of knowledge. He is born to know. And in order to know, he should know himself. As it has been told, and you must have heard it, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. He who knows himself knows God. One who does not know himself cannot know God. And a person cannot know himself unless he knows the environment in which he is born and where he lives and in which he dies. So the knowledge at all these three levels, even from the spiritual point of view, the purely spiritual point of view, is a must in Islam. When you read in history about Sayyidina Khaja Muinuddin al-Chishti, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi wa radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that when he came to Ajmer under the command from the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and he established his headquarters for propagating Islam in India. The Hindu ruler there and the Hindus around that area felt a deep anxiety. They couldn't meet and face the challenge of his dynamic personality. So they searched for their greatest yogi who lived in the Himalayas. His name was Dharampal. And this man came and he challenged the Khaja Sahib. He said, you have come here to propagate your religion, but we should have a spiritual duel so that this matter, this issue may be settled right here. And in that connection he said that I can fly in space without the help of anything else. We want to see as to who can fly higher, and that will settle the issue. It is said that he flew, and when he flew, Khwaja Sahib ordered his wooden sandal to fly behind him and to hit him and bring him down. How can this thing happen? I'll tell you this, how it does happen and can happen. And it can happen in the case of every human being. A piece of iron cannot fly. Or can it? It cannot fly. It is always under the control of the gravitational force of the earth. Throw it, it will come back. It can't stay. But if those laws are found out whereby an aeroplane can be made, then not only a sheet of iron can fly, but it can also enable others to fly when they sit there inside. Isn't that so? So, for a person who is ignorant of those laws of nature, whereby it is possible to make an aeroplane and to cause metals to fly in the air and to stay there and to maneuver themselves there as they choose. Similarly, a person who finds out those laws of higher knowledge, where this essence of the entire world, you see, the human being is the essence of the entire cosmos. The human being is greatest in God's creation, and from every point of view it is the most comprehensive thing in God's creation. It has got numerous powers which are inherent in it, which have been placed by God. Numerous types of machines which are there inside. The only thing that a man has got to do is to learn how to work those machines. It has got the wireless set. It has got the television set. It has got an engine which is placed in the aeroplane and then it flies. It has got the engine which is placed in the rocket and then the rocket flies. It has got all those things. But all of them are sealed. And on man has been placed the obligation that he should work out. He should pursue the path of knowledge in order to find out as to how a certain mechanism which is there in his personality can be worked and benefits obtained from it. This might sound, again, to many of you, something which is in principle quite correct, but which might be just a fiction. Of course, these events, the karamat of awliya Allah and the mu'jizat of anbiya Allah, the miracles which were given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his prophets, they were also extraordinary or supernatural happenings, so-called. And the karamat which were shown by God Almighty through his awliya, they were also extraordinary happenings which an ordinary human being cannot do. Only that person can do who knows this higher science, just as the making of the atom bomb and the hydrogen bomb or the making of rockets or landing on the moon is possible only for those who know the laws at the highest level, the laws of this cosmic world and whatever there is in it, of this mundane world, I ought to say. Similarly, those people who are the spiritual scientists, those who know the laws of the higher world and the higher gear, I might use this word, this is more proper. This world exists in different gears. As you run your automobile on the first gear and the second gear and the third gear and so on. Similarly, there are gears in the human personality and there are gears in this world, in the constitution of this world. It has been normally geared at a certain level. So we all of us behave and move and act as we do. But it will be a very great mistake to suppose that This is the only gear in which the human machine or this order of this world can work. It is a statement which is absolutely ultra-virus. It is a statement which has no foundation. To me, it may work like that. It may appear like that. To an ordinary educated person who has not learned about physics and about the atom and about the powers which are inherent in the atom, for him it may be a fiction that there can be some such thing as the atom bomb, which is not larger, bigger than a hen's egg, but which can destroy Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Or for him it will be a fiction that the atomic fuel which is placed in the rocket is quantitatively very small, but it has the power of producing energy which can carry the rocket, a very heavy thing, weighing tons in weight, from the earth to the moon and land there, and then come back. It appears a fiction to a common man who does not know physics, who does not know the atom and those powers which are inherent in it. Now, because the scientists are making a demonstration of this, and this thing is coming in the world press, therefore everybody says, in spite of being ignorant, yes, that is correct. He is ignorant of that science. He does not know. He cannot make the rocket. He cannot make you see, that atomic fuel. So in this case also, all these things which have happened in history and even now happen, those who see them, of course, they will say they can't deny. But those who don't see them, they are inclined under the impact of materialism of this age to say, oh, all this is fiction, this is superstition, how can it be? But may I tell you about two instances. I think we have arrived at the end of the time. Huh? May I tell you, say those karamat which were performed by the awliya Allah, they were not televised, and there is no television film for us. But the working of this higher reason, as I call it, higher reason, its demonstration is in the book. And here I'll give you two illustrations. One of these great Sufis was Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi wa radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. You must have heard his name. He was a great man. Once he was asked a question, how do these heavenly bodies stay where they are? What holds them? Of course, the answer can be God holds them. But that is only a fundamental answer. It's not a scientific answer. The inquirer wanted a scientific answer from Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi, and he gave the answer. Centuries ago, when physical science was yet in its infancy and astrophysics was not yet born, he gave the answer. He said, all these planets are held by the electromagnetic field. The answer is there in his book, written centuries ago. It has not been inserted now. How could he answer this? He was not working in a physical observatory or laboratory. He did not lead his life as a physical scientist. And even if he could have done, it took physical science centuries to come at this conclusion that these heavenly bodies are held together by the electromagnetic field. He has used exactly this term, mind you, when electricity was not known,
when magnetism was not known. And he is using exactly this term. Read his book. How could you find it out? This is on the basis of that transcendental being. When the higher reason works with the help of the five inner senses and it projects itself on the transcendental being, then it grasps all those informations of knowledge which a physical scientist takes in going step by step through the years and through the